and welcome back to part two of our basic division. Now, in the first video that I showed you, part one, we were dealing with one-digit numbers right here in what we call, this is called the dividend, right? One digit, a 5 and a 7. Well, we're going to kick it up a notch in part two. We're going to go with two-digit numbers. And then we might even expand it a little bit beyond that. So because I've already gone over the basics here in part one of how to set things up and how we cross out numbers, I'm going to go a little quicker in part two. So please feel free to pause the video as many times as you wish. We're probably working on the back side of the original paper right now, but you may at some point need a second one. Your paper looks like this. It is going the hot dog way, folded in half 2 times, right? And then some people like to draw the lines around the creases. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. Let's start off with something like this. 67 divided by 3. Now, you are going to write down everything that I write down, okay? And there are 2 different ways that you can represent this. This way, with this division symbol right here, or the bracket way, which is probably it's more common that way that you're going to see it like this, okay? You still read it 67 divided by 3, though, even though it's written in this order. Now, last time we only wrote ones, okay? But this time, we're going to write the word tens and ones. So we're going to be writing dots for both, okay? Now, just like last time, because we're dividing it into 3 groups, we want to make 3 empty spaces below. Whoops. 1, 2, 3. A little messy, but it still works. 1, 2, 3. So we have tens and ones. Again, pause it if you need to get exactly what I have here. And 1, 2, 3 below. Now, because we have a 2-digit number, we're going to be starting with the tens here, with the tens. Okay. Oh, by the way, it probably would be helpful if we were to make some dots and such. Okay. So, I suppose we could probably do it above here. Why don't we do this? We do above the word tens, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And above the ones, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Above the ones. Normally it'd be below, but that's okay. It's all good. Okay, so just like with the Christmas trees, just like with part one, we're going to separate these into 3 equal groups and then cross it out. Ready? Starting with the tens. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, that's pretty lucky that it worked out that way. There's nothing left over in the tens, okay? And let's see how many are in each one. It's 2. So above the 6, we're going to write a 2. 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. And how many tens are left over? None. I crossed out 6 out of 6. All 6 are crossed out. That's why it looks like this over here, and it looks like this over here. Then we're going to deal with the number in the ones place. We're going to take this 7 right here represents this 7 right here, and we're going to separate it into 3 equal groups. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now this time we did not cross out all of the dots. We were not able to, okay? Still the same thing as in the tens, okay? We have 2 in each group. We're going to put a 2 up here, okay? And because of that, though, well, we've got a little bit of an issue here. We're going to bring this 7 down because in order for us to do another subtraction problem, we need to kind of bring this 7 all the way down here. I might have made that arrow a little too low. That's okay. We need to make a little arrow and bring the 7 down here so we could do another subtraction problem. Otherwise, we can't do it up there. That wouldn't really work. So how much of the 7 did we actually use? How many of those dots? Well, we used 6 of them, right? There's 6 of the dots that are actually crossed out. So 2 times 3 is 6. And as you can see, there is 1 left over. And there's 1 left over if you do 7 minus 6. 7 minus 6. 6 out of the 7 were crossed out. Then we have a remainder of 1. And I go, no, this definitely looks a little more complicated than the ones that we did yesterday, right? So this is like, wait a minute, that was this, and now we're doing this. But if you just follow along and do exactly what I'm telling you to do, we should be fine. Okay, I know it's a little intimidating, but we'll try to do, maybe this next one we'll do one that's a little bit easier. Ready? Let's do 85 divided by 2. Again, you should be writing all this down. Mr. Brown, that does not look less complicated. Well, trust me when I say it is. Okay, so here we go. We write it 2 different ways. We write it this way, and we write it that way. And this time, let's write it. Let's do it right this time, Mr. Brown. Let's write the word tens, ones, and then let's put the dots underneath this, like in a place value chart, Mr. Brown. Right? Come on. How many tens are there? There are 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And how many ones are there? There are 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, I've said it 1,000 times. Pause it as many times as you need to get what I've got down here. Pause it, pause it, pause it. Okay, so here's how we have this one set up right here. Okay, now we're going to start. Now, oh, by the way, how many groups are we dividing it into? 2. So let's make 1, 2. Okay, I did a line here, then there to give me one group and another group right there. Okay, so we're separating this into 2 equal groups. We're going to start with the number in the tens place, 8. And we're going to be separating that. Okay, ready? 1, 2, cross it out. 1, 2, cross it out. 1, 2, cross it out. That was the ugliest dot I've ever done in my entire life. These are looking really strange. These are looking really bad, Mr. Brown. 1, 2, cross it out. Oh my goodness. All right. Please forgive me for the ugliness of my dots. It's pretty bad. So we used up all 8 dots and we were able to have 2 equal groups. How many ugly, horrible looking dots are in each group? 4 of them. So we're going to put the 4 above the 8, right? So 4 times 2 is 8. Right? That's also represented here. 4 times 2 is 8. We used up all 8 of them. 8 minus 8 is 0. Now, in order for us to do another subtraction problem a little later on, we're going to want to drop that 5 and write it like that. Okay? Because otherwise, if we try to subtract it all up here, it'll get a little messy looking. Okay? Now, let's take the number 5 and divide it into 2 equal groups. I have a feeling that this is not going to work out evenly. I think you know that too. Ready? Here we go. Now we're working with the 5s. 1, 2, cross it out. 1, 2, cross it out. Leftover, right? We have a remainder. Okay? So if we just ignore the 10s and just look at the 1s, how many are in each group? There are 2. 2 in each group. That's why we put a 2 right there. 2. 2 times 2 is 4. We were able to cross out 4 out of the 5 dots. 4 out of the 5 dots. Okay? And there's 1 left over. 5 minus 4 is 1. So we put R1 for the remainder. It could definitely get a little more complicated but I think for today, that's pretty darn good. Another day of just practicing. And if we're going to be doing this over and over and over again. And the more times you do it, for as complicated as it seems, as tricky as it seems, I promise you that it's going to get easier and easier and easier. That is a Mr. Brown promise. Okay? Make sure you have everything copied down that I did, and have a wonderful day.